Good day everyone, it's Caitlin, and today we are making a 1920s print dress copied from an original in my collection. Hello and welcome. So, we are going to work on a very fun project today. So this is an original 1820s, 1830s dress. It's kind of hard to see the design just because of the busyness of the fabric. But an old friend gave this to me, and it was his mother's. And so I don't have an exact date on it, but it's just a nice little, very thin cotton, sort of see-through, so that's why we had to make the slip last time. But she kind of has a V-neck here, with the collar out the way, and short sleeves that have a little gusset in them, which, as I'm now thinking, I did not pattern that gusset, so I'm going to pattern the gusset. Short sleeves, collar, there's a bodice, and then the back is all one piece, but this has a separate piece here. So this is a separate piece, and it kind of goes up like this, and it goes down like that. It'd be very pretty in a plaid. Like, you could really get a lot of good contrast with doing things with bias and all that fun stuff. And then in the skirt, it's fairly plain. So the back's all one piece, but the front's in two pieces. There's a seam right down the center, and then there's a little bit of like a kick panel. I don't know. It's like a little extra bit. It's so strange. But yeah, we're going to copy that. And so I bought, the closest thing I could find was this fabric. So it's the same colors, scale's bigger, same colors, but it's the same thickness. So it actually is a very light summer semi-sheer cotton as well. And I was really worried about the colors and the floral accents and the weight of the fabric. And so I spent most of my morning drafting out a pattern, and the original does fit me. She's a little tight in the hips, so I think I'm going to extend it probably about 3 or 4 inches in the hips from this pattern, because this is an exact reproduction or exact pattern. And we'll see how that works. And I'm hoping I bought way too much fabric. I think I bought 5 yards, which in theory should be more than enough for this. I just wanted an extra just in case, because I don't know if this is going to work or not. There's a back skirt. I will need that same pattern for a front skirt in just a minute. I'm just going to see if I can. Go ahead and iron these edges real quick. I think that's going to be faster for me. And then just more efficient. And I'll cut out the rest of this, because I do have, this is what the, just so you know, the pattern is different. This is what the bodice back looks like. So it's a really long thing. This is the bodice front. And this is the little piece that goes onto the front. It fits like this. And this is my collar. And part of the sleeve, I just need to do the piece that goes in here. I have not drafted that out yet. I think we're going to start by sewing the front two bodice pieces together. Oops, that would be the top. Here's the bottom of it. And then here's the waistband type situation. And the original doesn't finish any seams, so I think we're going to try it that way and see if it works. But this will complete the front of the bodice. Then I can sew the front to the back. Go ahead and put in sleeves. I think I have a game plan on how this is going to go together. It's always different when you start with a pattern and it tells you what to do. But when you're copying originals, it's going, okay, this makes the most logical sense. This is what I'm going to do first. But I'm using gray thread on my modern machine. The original is machine sewn, which is normal by the 1920s. Now that I have that stitched, I'm going to sew the back and the front together. And look at that, they actually match. It means I did something right. If nothing else, the pieces are fitting together, but not more than 1/4 of an inch. So that's not bad. I can cut off that 1/4 of an inch. these are the parts I'm most concerned about fitting, is the bodice pieces. Skirts you can kind of fudge and ease. Bodices need to be a little bit more precise. So I'm going to sew the side seams and the shoulder seams. I guess I'll go ahead and put in the sleeves. But we're going to need to make the sleeves first by hemming them and doing all that. Actually, what I could do before I do sleeves is we can go ahead and finish out the neckline, put in the collar, and all that. Alright, so I did that and then realized that I missed a step. So I should really have put on the facing in the back and the collar in the front before I stitched all that. So we're going to go ahead and rectify this. Take the back, right side to wrong side. That's right, okay. And we're just going to stitch this down. I've already hemmed it. And then on the front, we're going to go ahead and put in the collar. So, right side to wrong side again. I'm also considering adding another panel on the skirt, or at least a panel on either side. It fits. I've checked the bodice. Still a little tighter than I would prefer just for wearing ease. It fits. There's a couple of inches for ease, but not for walking ease. So I think I'm going to add another couple of inches of a panel and maybe lightly gather the skirt. And that way I'll just give me a little bit more movement and be a little bit flattering on my body shape. Because although I think the original lady and I are the same bust and waist and height, I think she has smaller hips than I do. I'm going to clip this very V shape just so it lays nicely. Should probably go ahead and press that. Turn this whole thing right side out. I don't think the original was top stitched by. I'm going to check that before I go too much further. Just going to press it down right now. And the answer is not top stitched, so I can go ahead and fold this back. We're going to sew that shoulder seam back again. Let me go ahead and first, I think I need to clip these edges. Clipping just makes things lay better. It's not something you generally have to do on mid-century clothing or mid-19th century clothing, but for vintage clothing, sometimes you gotta do those little tricks. So now I can, in full confidence, stitch the actual shoulder seam. And on the other side as well. Now, sewing that waist seam, this collar does fit into that section as well, so I'm going to have to do that part again as well. And it's a little too short. Do I want to recut and do all that, or do I want to just fudge it and see if we're good this time and extend my pattern piece? I think we're just going to play with it. And this is technically a mock-up because I've never made this up, and I just kind of traced the pieces, so it's not like the fact I'm getting something wearable is impressive. Alright, once I fudge this collar, I think we'll be ready to work on sleeves. So working on sleeves, I realized that I did the bodice wrong again. So I fixed the collar. It doesn't look like the original, but it looks fine, and it's nice looking, and it's good for a first try. Then I realized, while looking really deep into how she did the sleeves, I wanted to know whether she hemmed this piece and then hemmed this piece and then stitched them together, or she stitched them together first and hemmed it together. And I realized that she stitched them together, that she hemmed the whole thing, then she flat laid this whole thing into the flat bodice, so I should not have sewn the side seams, and then she serged from here all the way down the bodice and all the way down the skirt. So she basically assembled an entire skirt front, an entire skirt back, used the sleeves to attach them, then serged down that whole middle seam. Which is interesting, I didn't know sergers were around then. You learn new things every day. I have a serger. We might actually reproduce this. It's not going to be the exact stitch because her stitch doesn't look like a modern serger stitch, but it's still a serge stitch. Anyway, so I'm going to work on unpicking the side seams from that bodice, but I needed them sewn so I could see how it fit. So it's not like it was wasted time. It's just now I got to undo it. Okay, let me just iron this. Cannot wait to get into a different place where I actually have a designated sewing room and I don't have to keep moving my machine off my ironing board. So when I add pieces to the skirt, what I should probably do is instead of adding just a panel, I need to add 2 panels. That way I can still do that side seam that we talked about, that the original has that's serged. None of the other seams are serged. None of the other seams are even finished, but she serged that one seam. Alright, so I have here the skirt, and this is the very front, so this is the center front, and here's a little kick panel type thing. So I just stitched that in between the panels. I had to really look at the original to see what she was doing. Stitch this down all the way up the center front. So I have a little panel in there. So I still have to undo the side seam, and then I guess we'll stitch the bodices together with the sleeves. Alright, so far no luck with the serger. I tried, but it's just a little, it needs to be oiled. But the instruction manual I have doesn't say how to oil it, so I'm asking people who might know. And we'll find out. If nothing else, I'll do the sewing part and we can serge it whenever I get the serger working. So what I'm doing right now is just sewing the skirt to the bodice. And we'll sew the other side, and then we'll sew the side seams, sleeves, and skirt, and all that in one fell swoop, and then all we have to do is hem this thing. So we're going to start at the sleeves and then go all the way down. Alright, I have the other side to do, and then we'll come back and hem it. Alright, let's see how the dress turned out. So I have now tried it on and off, so this should be interesting. I don't have Edith at this house, so I can't show you the original next to this. Otherwise I would. Okay, it actually is quite long, so I don't actually need to do anything with the hem. That's super helpful. There is a belt that I need to make, though. But it looks very similar to the original. But you can see what I did with the neck right here. Go a little closer. So I basically just took the points, folded them in, turned them to where you don't see the raw edge, and I just stitched it down real quick. I actually stitched it a little bit up here, then down, and then across. So it kind of creates this separate beat or V here, but it kind of keeps the collar in place because these are not attached anywhere else. Sleeves are cute. I like how much space I have in them. I mean, for a late 20s, early 30s dress, I actually rather like it. Much more than I thought I would. So that's how long it is. Again, I made it a little bit fuller than the original. So there's actually gathering here, whereas the original didn't really have any gathering. There's space back here. It's not quite tight here. I have about comfortably an inch. So I probably should have about an inch or two more put into the hips for me. But honestly, it's not bad. A little insert, which is very strange. I don't know why it was needed, but I guess it adds detail. But yeah, I did totally forget to make a belt. And the original doesn't have a belt, so I'm just going to whip that up real fast. It'll take me 2 minutes. Y'all see me. If you saw how we made the straps on the all the other fittings, this is exactly what the belt is. It's just going to be an inch wide little thing, and it's going to just sit right here. Hopefully give me just a tiny bit of shaping. Oh, goodness. Oh, I don't know why people thought this was flattering on anybody. But it is what it is. So, but it all fits. I mean, I can wear it on Sunday, so which is awesome. So, yeah, hopefully get some pictures of the event, and maybe I can put it on the video, or at least I'll put it on Instagram or something, so y'all all see how it'll turn out. But there's the back. And for me, it's probably a little bit big, so I probably could have taken up a little bit dart here, if I actually really truly cared, which I don't. But I do like the fabric a lot, and I adore the sleeves. The sleeves are so cute. But I do really like the sleeves, so I'm happy with that. I think it'd be better if they kind of laid a little bit in, or just like fluttery, or like this one's not so bad. I'm actually very surprised how it doesn't look weirder than it does, because it's like not attached here. So, but it actually does lay very nicely. I don't know why they just didn't attach it in here. I guess for maximum flowy effect, but it lays, which is good. So that's my 1920s dress. I really, really hope I never have to make one again. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to make one again, because we see how well that worked out with the 1830s. And I actually did make this outfit, so I'm not going to say I will never do it again. But I really, really hope I don't have to. This is going to be a dual purpose dress because it is late 20s. This is also going to be my farm woman Great Depression dress if we ever do an event like that. So it's going to be like a dual purpose, which means I might end up making an early 30s dress too. Technically, I do have one. I have one that I just made up because the pattern was a lot smaller than I am, so I had to grade it up, and I graded it up wrong. It was my experiment in learning how to grade. It's the first thing from the 20th century I ever graded up in size. And I call it my pregnancy dress now because I added plenty of fabric. It's a little tight in the bust, but if I actually had the bust down where the 30s bust is, instead of like a regular bra, I think it would be much better. But for some reason, I didn't add any extra fabric in the back. It fits. I added all this extra fabric like right in here, so I can actually pull the dress out to like right here. And I'm like, oh look, it's just a maternity dress. It wasn't meant to be a maternity dress, but that is now my 1930s pregnancy dress. So I do have that. I actually wear that as a house dress sometimes. Y'all see me in it. If you ever see me in that little printed green, blue, floral, yeah, that's my pregnancy dress. Yeah, so fun times. I've learned a lot since then about braiding things up. So hopefully won't have that issue again. I think there may be one other dress, because for events I do like to have one to wear plus a spare. So if I ever did an event, like this is just a day thing, there's no reason for me to have to change out of this. Even if it gets dirty or whatever, there's no reason for me to change. If I did an actual event with like multiple days, that's when I would want to go in and actually possibly make another dress. And I do have a pattern for it. So with all that being said, thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next video.